Firefighting in Canada this week is brought to you by VFIS of Canada, a division of CVIS Incorporated, Canada's largest insurer of firefighters. This week, while wildfires are significantly down in British Columbia this year, Quebec is having its worst forest fire season in a decade. Then, we'll take a look at a new research study on potential hazard risks associated with PPE materials. And our most recent podcast focuses on firefighting education during the pandemic. British Columbia is experiencing a 10-year low on average for wildfires. Quebec is reporting a 10-year high. In the latest seasonal outlook on June 19th, the BC Wildfire Service reported 168 wildfires. Over the past 10 years, an average of 287 wildfires had taken place by this point in the season. The BC Wildfire Service credits rainfall and open fire prohibitions for the slow wildfire season thus far, but said the remainder of the season will be highly dependent on weather patterns, length of drying periods, and wind. Meanwhile, Quebec is experiencing their worst wildfire season in a decade in terms of hectares lost. Quebec's Forest Fire Prevention Organization, SAPFIE, reported over 560 fires in the intensive zone this year. The province's 10-year average was 274 fires by this point in the forest fire season. Quebec's intensive zone hasn't lost more than 60,000 hectares in a season since 2010. So far this year, over 61,000 hectares have burned. Citing climate change, Natural Resources Canada said it's anticipating that forest fires will continue to worsen across the country over the next several years. A new research study from the University of Notre Dame in Indiana looked at the potential risks of chemicals on firefighter PPE. The study, led by Graham Peasley, professor of physics at the University of Notre Dame, was published in Environmental Science and Technology Letters in June. Researchers tested more than 30 samples of used and unused PPE from 6 specialty textile manufacturers in the United States. They found that the fabric used for turnout gear tested positive for per- and polyfluorinated substances, which have been shown to be harmful to humans and animals. In a previous study, co-authored by Peasley, researchers found that these chemicals accumulate in the body after entering the bloodstream. PFAS has also been linked to 4 of the top 8 cancers found most commonly in firefighters. This includes testicular cancer, mesothelioma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and prostate cancer. This is the first study to identify this potential source of PFAS exposure in firefighting PPE. Peasley said more studies are needed to assess the extent of this risk to firefighters. Phil Bott is the division chief for the Greater Toronto Airports Authority and the Fire and Emergency Services Training Institute. In our latest Firefighting in Canada podcast, he joins host and fire chief Tom DeSorcy to discuss changes in education, feedback he's received from students, the ongoing need for recruits, and the growing importance of technology in the fire service.
We have noticed that there is an increase in the demand for hiring. So the municipal departments are still having retirees. They still need to have recruits join in. And if we don't have enough graduates from programs and enough candidates coming from the CTS program, then especially here in Ontario with the CTS program, it suffers on 2 avenues. No students, no candidates.
The Fire and Emergency Services Training Institute had just graduated their first class of the year when COVID-19 hit Canada and all courses were suspended. Those who had attended class beforehand began learning via online modules. Despite these changes to the curriculum, Bott said they had received positive feedback from students and plans to continue incorporating technology post-COVID. To hear the full podcast, visit firefightingincanada.com and subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thanks again to VFIS of Canada, a division of CVIS Incorporated, Canada's largest insurer of firefighters. Stay tuned for our next episode on Friday, July 17th.